Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Vox Markets for Monday, the 25th of April. And starting off with Boston International, not the most famous small cap in the world, but I'm trying to go for one or two more early bird situations this week. Not quite sure why, but let's see if it works. Here we've got bullish divergence with the last low for April, the new low, a bit higher RSI trace, so that bullish divergence could be the trigger to get the shares through a penny, which is recent resistance, and onto the top of the triangle there at 1.8 pence, maybe over the next 1 to 2 months, barring any fresh lows that the stock might make. If it makes any new lows, then probably one would cancel the idea of recovery, and if we don't get through a penny mid-price, also that would question the idea. Next up, a stock which is a request, and one that hasn't appeared here for quite some time, Drumz. Here we've got a situation where the shares are, have been doing rather well in terms of recovering after a bear trap. Bear trap below the old May and August floor, just a slight one there, just this sort of price action there at the beginning of March. Breaking out of a falling wedge situation and breaking above the 200-day moving average at 0.55. We've currently got both the 50 and 200-day moving averages rising, which when the stock is or a market's near its lows is a very encouraging sign. That could be a trigger or offer the potential for the shares hitting that line of resistance from April 2020, currently going for 1.4 pence over the next 1 to 2 months. All the while we need to remain above ideally we remain above the 200-day line just there around the 0.55 level, and also that's the area of that early 2021 resistance line, which was broken just a few days ago. More common fare now coming from Empire Metals rather. Here we achieved the initial target here, which looked rather ambitious, around up to 2.2 pence. Above 2.2 pence, looking for 3 pence at that late August resistance line projection. We could see that 3 pence target maybe by the end of next month, especially the way things are going at the moment, looking very strong indeed. On to Genedrive. I know a lot of people would like this to go up rather more than it has even already over the recent past. Obviously, we were down near 10p just early last month. The current situation is that we would like to break that resistance line there from December. That's around the 33.5 pence level, so an end of day close above that could give the shares enough momentum to head up to 56 pence over the following 1 to 2 months if all things work out as they should. The reason for the relative enthusiasm here is the rising 50-day moving average, which has been rising since the shares were in the low 20s, and also the way that we've had multiple support points above that rising 50-day line, which suggests that the shares have the capability to head higher. Only back below the last swing low there around 25 pence, so sub 25 pence, really delaying the idea of further recovery. Another requested stock is coming in the form of Keras, which I waited on actually. I think on the end of last week the shares were around 0.1. Just wanted to see them break that last high there at 10.5, let's call it 0.105. Initial target here has been and continues to be up to 0.14 pence, but it looks as though we're in a mid-move consolidation, which could deliver rather more than that. Best case scenario above 0.14 is up to as high as the top of that rising trend channel that I'm trying to draw at the moment, heading for 0.2 pence maybe over the next 1 to 2 months. Upside valid at least while we hold above the gap there at 0.09, let's call it. But ideally, there's no sustained price action back below 0.1 pence for that. Nice to see further momentum at Live Company, and here the shares just nudging into new near-term highs. Here we've got that rising trend channel from back in December. That's heading for 14 pence, and that could maybe be seen over the next couple of weeks if we maintain the current rate of progress. We've got that rising RSI line as well, which has been multi-tested, which looks like a pretty strong feature as well, backing the idea of further gains. Stock which was set to go on its way after we broke the initial resistance there. It's always good to look at the opening range for a stock when it comes to market. That was 3.4 pence, and we broke that very easily last week. Current situation is that we're heading towards that rising trend channel, the February one, heading as high as 7.5 pence, hopefully by the end of next month. And the ideal scenario is that we don't trade below 4.5 pence, just below the latest gap. So above 4.5, looking for 7.5 on Mila over the near term. Another recovery situation, which has maybe been a pleasant surprise, comes in the form of NetScientific. Here it looks as though we are looking at a pretty good recovery, a proper one, and that could be along the lines of the price channel I'm just drawing at the moment. I was previously looking for the 200-day moving average area just below £1, but we might be able to squeeze a bit more on this round, actually. Top of that January trend channel as high as £1.08, maybe £1.10 by the end of next month, and that valid while we hold above the old resistance on the way down around 76 pence, so above 76 at least, looking for a £1 plus over the next few weeks at NetScientific. On to Orosur mining, which might be jumping the gun here, but we gapped up on Friday and pushed ahead since then. Bit of a bear trap there below 10 pence, so I'm assuming that we'll manage to break that line of resistance there at 11.5 pence and retest the 2022 peaks to date around 17 pence. So above the, let's say, that last swing low around 9.75 pence, looking for 17 for Orosur over the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. Just a few stocks to go now. One is, well, I suppose one would think of this as a binary bet because obviously Russia focused, etc. But what we can see here at the moment is that Petropavlovsk making good attempts to find support at the floor of this rising trend channel from March. Not a brilliant situation, but we do have the shares bouncing there. And above that last low at 1.5 pence, if you're of sort of in binary bet mode, the best case scenario target here would be as high as 6 pence over the next month or so. But obviously anything could happen there, either on the upside or the downside. Not very helpful in terms of that. But the charting situation suggests that there is support at 2 pence and just below. Moving on to 7 Digital, and here you can see that the shares have just emerging from this falling wedge that we've had. That's around the 0.3 pence area. End of day or a weekly close above the 50-day moving average at 0.34. Could be enough to take the shares back up to their main resistance area of the or the year to date, around 0.6 pence. So that idea backed by a bullish divergence line from as long ago as the end of September. And so that might provide us with some decent momentum for the shares over the next month or so. Ideally, they're in a broadening triangle, which is in place since November, and could even get the shares as high as 0.8. So it looks rather optimistic, rather punchy, but we've been going down for a long time, and maybe it's time for a turnaround. Stock of the day, by quite some margin, I would say, is Woodbois, and continues to go up, even though people are sort of sniffing at it and being a bit snooty about it. But we did actually have a very good trendline break earlier this month. What was that? Around the probably the first week, the second week of April, around the 3 and 4 pence area, and we've had a sideways shuffle above the 50-day moving average around 4 pence as well. The breakout today, a break through that initial April resistance of 4.6 pence. While we hold above that, we're looking for the top of a rising trend channel from as long ago as the early part of 2020, and that is heading or promising us a target as high as 9 pence by the end of next month. In fact, the way things are going, it could be by the end of this month, but above the 4.5, 5 pence area, looking pretty strong for Woodbois at the moment. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.